So first of all, guys, welcome back to my channel, and I'm going to show you guys um, the recipe of how the consistency was, because for some reason, one of my videos didn't show when I was making the first waffle, the consistency of it and everything. So I'm just going to describe what I did and what it kind of looked like, but at the end I will show you guys kind of like how I improved that and what changes were made. So for this lakanto pancake mix, I basically just followed the ingredients or recipe that was on the package. So it was just 1/4 cup of the waffle mix, which isn't very much, but it does go a long way for one waffle. And it says 1 tablespoon of coconut oil, or I guess you could use any other oil, but I did leave it room temperature so it wasn't completely melted down. And then just 1 egg. So this first pancake with just the regular mix came out very good. So it was like perfect, condition. It looked like a waffle very well. It wasn't like flat. It didn't look like a less filling or anything like that. But what happened was whenever I pick it up, it just easily falls apart, but it kind of still stays together pretty well. So it's not a big deal. But whenever you're putting the sugar-free syrup on it, or other things on it that can kind of make it wet a little bit, it falls apart and crumbles very easily. So that's kind of why I decided to make a new one with this same recipe, but just add a little bit to it to kind of keep the same consistency, but also make it stay together a little bit better whenever you do add your syrup. And I wish I could have showed you guys how that came out, but instead I'm going to be showing you guys how I made the next one. So for this new one, I basically kept it the same, and it's just the 1/4 cup like it says on the bag with the 1 egg. And instead of using a whole tablespoon of coconut oil, and so just to kind of keep it a little bit less, since we are adding more calories to it as well, I just kind of wanted to take some of it away from the fat. But of course I also add butter at the end, so it kind of goes together well whenever you add a little bit. So I'm just going to be adding some wild whey protein, if you guys saw that at the beginning. And basically it's about 3 tablespoons of the protein powder, or about 1 scoop of it. And that will just be from the bag already that's in there. And I did also add about a 1/4 cup of water to this consistency, just because adding the protein powder did make it more drier. So I wanted to keep it a little bit more on the wet side and not too thick. So that's kind of what I did. And then now I'm going to be showing you guys how it came out after cooking. But first I wanted to show you guys basically that it was just enough to fill the complete thing. You can always add a tiny bit more water if you really need to, but it was about the 1/4 cup that was good enough, and maybe like a tablespoon or more would be just perfect. So as you guys can see, that it came out pretty good still. Maybe the waffle like shape was a little tiny bit less waffly looking. As you guys could see, the edges weren't completely perfect, but it was still very similar to the first one, just using the regular mix. And now you guys can see how easy it breaks apart. So as you can see, I did have to tug a tiny bit on it, but it does break apart easier when you wet it with some syrup. And the first one, on the other hand, just kind of broke off very easily. You have to kind of lightly pick it up so it doesn't just fall apart as easily. But other than that, with this whey protein powder, or just I guess any other protein powder that you probably would mix with this, it's just going to give it a thicker taste. And the other thing that I also did notice was that compared to the first one, this second one was thicker. So because of that, I did feel like I needed some milk or something to go with it. However, I also did feel like it filled me up more. So I definitely started using it with the protein powder, and it kept me from getting hungrier later. And of course I did add butter to it, and then you can always add other toppings as like dark chocolate or something like that. I did also do that. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys try their waffle pancake mix. I thought it did taste pretty good. The other thing I did want to mention though was that the taste was very I guess it had like an aftertaste to it almost, and you can definitely taste it more with the first one than you could with the protein powder. So the protein powder kind of did dilute it a little bit, but it was just perfect enough to like make it still taste great. So it wasn't taking so much away from it, but it was also kind of making it a little bit better. So yeah, just to kind of keep that in mind when you do buy the pancake mix, if you decide to, it does have a little bit of a taste to it, but it's not a bad taste. It's just a little bit of a different taste for, you know, considered from a regular waffle. So yep, that will conclude my video, and thanks for watching, guys.